Seriously, back to the beginning. Unless you've already watched everything before, in which case, welcome. The middle of the night. The hands of the clock are showing just before 2 o'clock. This is the period where when my wavelength is at its best. I'll hit the peak of it at exactly 2 a.m. This is the first and only chance that I'll get, so I can't afford to make even the slightest mistake.
消去の中に大虚。大虚の陣を4つ刻んで、召喚の陣で囲んだ。
Departure within erasure. Engrave the circle of departure 4 times and surround it with the summoning circle. Right? I engrave the circle on the basement floor. Truthfully, summoning a servant doesn't need any kind of grand necromancy. Servants are called forth by the Holy Grail. Masters merely bind themselves to them and provide the magical energy necessary for them to manifest, so the summoning is them coming at their own will.
Sony, 銀と鉄。礎に石と契約の対抗。ソニは我が大使、シュバインヨーグ。
Silver and iron for the root. For the foundation, stone and the Archduke of Contracts. For the ancestor, my great master Schweinorg.
降り立つ風には壁を。四方の門は閉じ、王冠より出。王国に至る三サロは循環せよ。
A wall to the descending wind. Close the gates of the 4 corners, come forth from the crown, and cycle the 3-forked road of the kingdom. Even so, I'm meticulous and careful. The magic circle that normally I would have drawn in blood, this time I draw with powdered jewels. I'm using half the gems I have saved up for this, so my wallet won't forgive failure either.
満たせ、満たせ、満たせ、満たせ、満たせ。
Fill. Seal. Fill. Seal. Fill.
繰り返し都度に5度。
5 times and 5 times for each time.
ただ、満たされる時を破却する。
Destroy the filled engravings. Just before 2 a.m. I finish drawing the summoning circle passed down through the Tosaka family, and with all my spirit I stand and face the circle.
アンフォン。
Anfang. Set. I turn the formless switch inside me to on. There's a sensation of something changing inside my body. My normal nerves reversing to become circuits for transmitting magical energy. From here, Tosaka Rin isn't a person. She becomes nothing more than a component for the realization of the arcane. My fingertips start to melt. No, I'm being filled from my fingertips. The mana that I'm taking in is so rich that it's pinning over whatever sensation remained on my body. So, to be filled up is at the same time also to be utterly destroyed. The power coursing through my body is the pure magical energy carried in the air. In taking it into the circuit In taking it into the circuit that is my body, I change it into a different magical energy. A mage's body is nothing more than a circuit. A circuit binding material and ethereal together. The various arcane mysteries we can accomplish as a result are what we dub magecrafts. My body burns. A hallucination like horns are sprouting from my forehead. A hallucination like wings are growing from my back. A hallucination like scales are forming on my hands. A sensation like water has risen up to my ankles. Sweat runs down my body. I feel stabbing pain from head to foot as swords pierce through me. That's the stigmata of my human body rejecting its transformation into a magic circuit. No matter how surpassing a mage you might be, humans are humans. This pain will continue to haunt us for as long as we perform magic with human bodies. Even so, I don't relax the cycle. At the end of this pain, at the bottom of oblivion, lies the state of connection. A squirming pain in my left arm. My magic crest, trying to support me as a caster, begins an aria of its own and needlessly begins invading my nerves. The mana is collected in my blood. If that blood is like molten lead, then the activated magic crest is like a nerve made of thorns. It crawls and scrapes its way around the inside of my body like a fanged centipede. I forget myself in the pain. And at the same time, I receive the response that I've arrived. My excessively oversensitive ears catch the sound of the clock in the living room. 10 seconds until 2 a.m. The power filling my body is now impeccably complete. I declare. Let's begin. I transform the collected mana into an anchoring force. All that's left is just to pour in magical energy until this body is empty and turn this engine called a summoning circle. I declare. Thy body to my will, my fate to thy sword. Obey the call of the Holy Grail. If thou wilt obey this will and this reason, then answer. My vision goes dark. Before me is the fifth element that it's said can't be gazed upon with the naked eye. Thus, fearing being snuffed out, my vision shuts down by itself. I vow it here. I shall be all that is good in the world. I shall impose my will on all that is evil in the world. Thou art the seven heavens clad in the three words of power. Come forth from the ring of restraint, O guardian of the scales. Perfection. The response was so flawless, it was like catching a whale with a fishing pole. Perfect. There's no mistaking it. I definitely drew the strongest card. I can't wait for my vision to come back. In just a few seconds, my eyes will recover, and right before my eyes, the form of the servant I summoned will be... not there.
Hi?
Huh? There's just nothing there. There's not even a single sign that anything's changed. The ether is dancing like crazy, but there's not even a fragment of anything that materialized. What's more, it sounds like something's exploding in the living room. Why? I run. With my mind still totally empty, I start running. I charge up the basement stairs and hurry to the living room. The door's wrecked? The door to the living room is crooked. Turning the handle does nothing. It won't open whether I push or pull on it, so... You're in the way! I kick the door in with a crash and head inside. And in the instant I walk through the door, I understand everything. The living room is a wreck. I don't know if something fell through the ceiling, but the room is filled with debris, and there's a man sitting cockily with his feet up on the wreckage. There's no mistaking that he's the culprit. But there's something more important than that. The grandfather clock that escaped destruction is clearly showing the time. And with that, I remember. Yeah, that's right. If I remember correctly, just for today, the clocks in my house were all an hour fast, weren't they? In other words, right now it's 1 a.m. There's actually still an hour left until I'm at peak condition. I did it again. I can do most things just as well as anyone else, but I do have just one hereditary curse. That is, whenever it matters more than anything else, like right now, most of all, I make an incredible, unbelievable mess up. Well, there's no use crying over spilled milk. Too bad. The depth of my stupidity is infuriating. Still very much irritated, I fix my gaze on the man cockily reclining in the wreckage. And? Who are you? That's the first thing out of your mouth? I seem to have been drawn by quite the master. The red-coated guy exaggeratedly shakes his head, as if saying, good grief. What's more, he has the nerve to mutter something like, I guess I drew the short straw. I'll say it right now. This guy's personality is definitely twisted. Be that as it may, is this really a servant? Because their familiars, I thought they'd be formless. But this guy is the very picture of a human. No, that's not quite right. Even just sitting there, I can tell that he's infused with an incredible amount of magical energy. Don't be fooled by his looks. That thing is unmistakably beyond human, a ghost who's reached the level of a spirit even while keeping a human form. I can't just stand here overwhelmed forever. That thing is mine. In that case, I'll have to change how I think about this. I'm just checking, but there's no doubt that you're my servant? I'd like to ask that too. Are you really my master? This is the first time I've had such a violent summoning. Frankly, I can't grasp the situation. It's my first time too. I reject those sorts of questions. I see. But when I was summoned, you were nowhere to be found. Can you explain what the meaning of that is?
ひな鳥じゃあるまいし、目を開けた時にしか主を決められないなんて冗談はやめてよね。
Are you serious? It's not like you're a baby bird, so you can lose the jokes about only being able to confirm your master the moment you open your eyes. The unidentified servant's face twists into a scowl. By his tricky reaction, I don't know if what I said made him angry, or if he saw that what I said was completely right and was impressed.
まあいいわ。私が聞いているのはね、あなたが他の誰でもない、この私のサーバントかってことだけよ。
Well, it's fine. What I'm asking is whether you're my servant and not anyone else's. That's it.
それをはっきりさせない以上、他の質問に答える義務はないわ。
Till we're clear on that, I have no obligation to answer any other questions.
召喚に失敗しておいてそれか。この場合、他にいろいろと言うべきことがあると思うのだな。
Watching the summoning, and that's what you have to say? In this case, I think there are plenty of other things you ought to say.
そんなのないわよ。主従関係は一番初めにはっきりさせておくべきものだもの。
There aren't. Master-servant relationships should be made clear from the very beginning. Servant raises his eyebrows. Maybe it's because of the half-cocked summoning, but this guy's not even trying to hide his dissatisfaction with me.
主従関係ははっきりさせておくか。やることは失点だらけだが、口だけは達者らしい。
Master-servant relationships should be made clear. Your actions are full of mistakes, but it seems you're good with words at least.
ああ、確かにその意見には賛成だ。どちらが強者で、どちらが弱者なのか、明確にしておかなければ、お互いやりづらかろう。
Yes, certainly I agree with that opinion. Who is the stronger and who the weaker? If we don't make that clear, it's more difficult for both of us. Still lying back in the wreckage, the servant meaningfully gives me an appraising look.
どちらが弱者かですって？
Who's the weaker, you said?
ああ、私もサーバントだ。呼ばれたからには主従関係を認めるさ。だが、それはあくまで契約上の話だろう。
That's right, I'm a servant after all. As long as I've been summoned, I'll recognize the master-servant relationship. But that's only insofar as the contract is concerned, no?
どちらがより優れたものか、共に戦うにふさわしい相手かを測るのは別になる。
Gauging which of us surpasses the other and whether we're fit to fight together is a different matter.
さて、その件でいくと、君は私のマスターにふさわしい魔術師なのかな、お嬢さん。
So, along those lines, are you a mage appropriate to be my master, miss? The servant smirks. Just destroying my house and that kingly attitude are enough to annoy me, but asking if I'm fit to be his master without even an ounce of shame?
あなたの意見なんて聞いてないわ。
I'm not asking for your opinion.
私が聞いているのは、あなたが私のサーバントかどうかってことだけよ。
The only thing that I'm asking is, are you my servant? I stare directly at him. Like I'm gonna lose to this jerk blatantly looking down on me.
ほう、なるほどなるほど。そんな当たり前のことは答えるまでもないと。実に勇ましい。いや、気概だけなら立派なマスターだが。
Oh, I see, I see. Such an obvious thing goes without saying, does it? You truly are brave. Yes, if it were just about guts, you'd make a splendid master.
だから順番を間違えるなっていうの。
I'm saying, don't get the order wrong.
一番初めに確認するのは召喚者の務めよ。さあ答えなさい。あなたは私のサーバントなのね。
The summoner's first responsibility is the initial confirmation. So answer me. You're my servant, aren't you? I I step closer, ready to grab at him depending on his answer.
強情なお嬢さんだ。これでは話が進まんな。
You are a stubborn young lady. This conversation isn't going anywhere like this.
仕方あるまい。仮に私が君のサーバントだとしよう。で、その場合、君が私のマスターなのか？いやまあ、あくまで仮の話だが。
Fine. Let's assume for a moment that I am your servant. In which case, are you then my master? Well, this is purely a hypothetical conversation.
当たり前じゃない。あなたが私に呼ばれたサーバントなら、あなたのマスターは私以外に誰がいるっていうのよ。
Of course! If you're my servant that I summoned, then who is your master if it's not me? Somehow I cool down my head before it boils over and glare at this scoundrel.
おう、そうか。まあ仮の話なんだが、とりあえずそうだとしよう。
Oh, I see. It's just a hypothetical, but let's assume that's the case. Then for but let's assume that's the case then for the time being.
それで、君が私のマスターである証はどこにある？
So, where's your proof that you're my master? The servant smirks while that drivel spills out of his mouth. No doubt he thinks he's making me flustered by asking for proof of my being a master.
ここよ。あなたのマスターである証ってこれでしょ？
Right here. The proof that you're looking for is this, right? I show him the command spell standing out on my right arm. Don't think that I don't know anything. I heard all about being a master from Dad, so I know about the command spells.
納得いった？これでもまだ文句を言うの？
Convinced yet, or do you still have more complaints? I thrust the proof towards him as if to say, how's that? The eyes of the servant lying in the wreckage take on a confused look.
まいったな。本気で言っているのか、お嬢さん。
Good grief. Are you seriously saying that, miss? He says as his face clouds over with discontent.
本気かってなんでよ？
Am I serious? About what?
その考えがだ。霊樹があればマスターなのか？霊樹などサーバントを利する道具に過ぎないだろう。
That way of thinking. Just having a command spell makes you a master? The command spell is nothing more than a tool to control a servant with.
まったく、そんな形だけのものでマスターブルとはな。
To think you're playing at being a master with just a shallow thing like that.
私が見たかったのは、君が忠誠を振るうにふさわしい人物かどうかだったのだが。
What I wanted to see was whether you're a person suited to wield my loyalty. Oh. That's true. But if somebody asked you for the proof that you're a master, normally what you'd think of is the command spell, isn't it?
何よ？それじゃあ私はマスター失格？
So what? I'm not good enough to be your master then?
そう願いたいが、そうはいくまい。霊樹がある以上、私の召喚者は君のようだ。信じがたいが、君は本当に私のマスターらしいな。
As much as I might wish that were the case, since you have the command spell, it seems that my summoner is you. It's hard to believe, but it seems you really are my master. He shrugs his shoulders ostentatiously. This is bad. The boiling point is too low. I don't think I can cool down in time.
全くもって不満だが、認めよう。
I'm entirely dissatisfied, but I'll accept it.
とりあえず君は私のマスターだ。だが私にも条件がある。私は今後 君の言い分には従わない。戦闘方針は私が決めるし、君はそれに従って行動する。
For now, you are my master. However, I have a few conditions myself. From now on, I won't obey your orders. I will decide our battle plans, and you will act according to them.
これが最大の譲歩だ。それで構わないな、お嬢さん。
This is the largest concession I'll make. You don't mind that, right, miss? Ah, looks like it's no good, Dad. Any second now, I'm gonna hit my limit.
そう不満だけど認めるくせに私の意見には取り合わないってどういうことかしら。あなたは私のサーバントなんでしょ。
I see. You don't like it, but you'll accept it. But in spite of that, you won't pay attention to anything I have to say. Just what is that exactly? You're my servant, aren't you? With a shaking voice, I at least try asking him. There was that thing with the command spell earlier too, so this last warning is the most that I can compromise. At that...
ああ、形の上だけはな。故に形式上は君に従ってやる。だが戦うのは私自身だ。君はこの家の地下にでも隠れて聖杯戦争が終わるまでじっとしていればいい。
That's right, in form at least. So formally, I'll obey you. But the one doing the fighting is me. It'd be just as well if you hid yourself in the basement of this house and stayed put until the Grail War is over.
それなら未熟な君でも命だけは助かるだろう。
In that case, even someone as inexperienced as you should be able to at least survive. His eyes looking down on me declare that he expects nothing from me. Oh. Oh, right.
いや、もちろん君の立場は尊重するよ。私はマスターを勝利させるために呼ばれたものだからな。
Oh, have I made you angry? No, of course I'll respect your position. I was called to ensure my master's victory after all.
私の勝利は君のものだし、戦いで得たものは全て君にくれてやる。それなら文句はなかろう。
My victory is yours, and anything that I gain through fighting, I'll give to you. You won't have any complaints in that case, correct?
どうせ君に令状は使えまい。
In any case, I doubt you can even use the command spell.
まあ、後のことは私に任せて、君は自分の身の安全を。
Well, you can just leave the rest up to me, and look after your own safety.
あ、玉来た。
I'm so mad!
いいわ。そんなに言うなら使ってやろうじゃない。
Fine, if you're gonna go ahead, if you're gonna be like that, I'll go ahead and use one.
アンファン。
Anfang. No more mercy. There's no need for pity against such a contrary jerk.
まさか。
What? You wouldn't.
そのまさかよ、この礼儀知らず。
I would, you mannerless oaf.
フィアトラーク、アイノイエナーゲル、アイノイエスケナツ、アイノイエスフィアブレヒン。
Vertrag. Ein neuer Nagel. Ein neues Gesetz. Ein neues Verbrechen. O command spell, by the law of the Holy Grail, heap the rules of admonition upon this, my servant!
待て、正気かマスター。そんなことで令状を使うやつが。
Wait, are you insane, Master? What kind of person would use a command spell for that?
うるさい。
Shut up!
いい？あんたは私のサーバント。なら私の言い分には絶対服従ってもんでしょ。
You're my servant, okay? So in that case, you obey my orders absolutely, don't you? The mark engraved on my right hand throbs. 3 command spells. One of the cornerstones of the Holy Grail War, one of the 3 rights of absolute command over a servant, is exercised.
考えなすか君は。こんな大雑把なことに令状を使うなど。
What are you thinking? If you use a command spell for something as broad as that... No matter how much you yell, it's too late for that now. Anyway, I didn't expect it to turn out this way either. I hate myself so much I want to die. To think I've already used up something as important as a command spell on something like this. So, withdrawing from the ruins of the living room, for the moment we've moved to my room. And break off for the next episode here. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and see you next time.